Let's talk about learning in an agile environment. When we think of learning in HR, in the past, we used to think of seminars, of the job mainly. But let's talk about how learning works in an agile setting. So here is a simple way of looking at it. You see on the left side, lacking knowledge. On the right side, there is knowledge. So learning means moving from lacking knowledge to knowledge. I mean, that's clear. But the starting point for us, for most people, is what I would name ignorance. Ignorance sounds a little bit bad, but it's not meant that way. It's just that we don't know something and we are not aware of it. So most things we don't know, we don't know. We don't know that we don't know anything. So, which is absolutely okay. Yeah, it does not bother us. But ignorance is not a good state to learn. So, what should happen is that we move from ignorance to relevant uncertainty. What is that? We become aware that we have a lack of knowledge. We see there is a problem and we don't have a solution. Or we learn that we were wrong on something, that we had the wrong assumptions. We know that we have to go somewhere, for instance, with regards to digitization, but we do not know how. So, I mean, that's a situation you don't want to be. And the things really matter. They are relevant for your work, for the future. So how to get there? That's the process of irritation. We get irritated. And irritation is absolutely necessary for learning. So now, what's next? We now have to move from relevant uncertainty to what we call explicit knowledge. That's knowledge that we are aware of. That's knowledge that we can articulate, that we can write down maybe, that we can explain to others. But how do we get from relevant uncertainty to explicit knowledge? It's not through just reading a book or asking an expert or a consultant. In an agile environment, that's a process, that's an iterative process. Reflection happens. So we have an hypothesis, we test it, we fail, do it again. It's better. Now we improve it, we fail again, let's change it. So that's an iterative process. We build prototypes, we fail, we improve the prototype. All these sorts of things. And through this reflection process, we move from the situation of relevant uncertainty to explicit knowledge. And once we become familiar, once we get used to our knowledge, things again become implicit or unconscious. This is a process that in psychology we name internalization. So the brain is very efficient here. Once we have really learned something, once we are really familiar with something, it moves to our unconsciousness. So the way, by the way, from implicit knowledge to explicit knowledge is what we call externalization. And there is another path, by the way. Many people learn without being aware of it. That can happen. So that completely happens unconscious by, for instance, working with others. This is how children learn a language, for instance, or how we adapt to social values. So this is what we call socialization. So the interesting point here is that when we look in an agile setting, where it's pretty much about innovation and dealing with much uncertainty, learning is nothing else than working. And to work means to learn, because we move into uncertainty, we reflect in teams mainly, and we move to explicit knowledge. This is working and this is learning. So in an agile situation, there's literally no difference between the two.